Hi guys.
Hello,
Hello.
hi.
How you doing?
Congratulations on the show. I've only seen the first two episodes, but from what I've seen, it's pretty stunning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Had you guys read the book before you signed on for the show?
Yeah, I read the book when it was first released, like 5, 6 years
Yeah,
ago, and I loved the story. I loved it.
yeah.
And actually, my partner gave it to me, and he said, "You should definitely read it. This is a story for a movie." And I mean, he wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There was a moment when it came out where it really felt like everyone was reading it. Everywhere you looked, sitting on the tube across from you, this book was everywhere, and I think it resonated with just so many people. And I gave it a read. I was so inspired by it, inspired by them, Lali and Geeta as individuals, and also their story and the journey that they go on together, and inspired by their love story. So I was a big fan.
What do you think fans of the book will think of the adaptation?
I think it's a real challenge to make an adaptation of something that's like holds a special place in people's hearts, because on the one hand, you want to honor all of the things that people fell in love with. You want to capture that as well, but I don't think you can make a carbon copy, because it needs to be able to exist in its own right. Um, it needs to change. It needs to evolve, and there needs to be a reason to tell it.
Yeah,
You can't do it just because it was successful, you know?
yeah.
So I hope that the core and the essence of it, the fact that it's about them and
Mm.
what they went through and their love, that is there. Uh, and then I think as well, it introduces probably more themes around trauma and memory,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and the way that this time in history has impacted so many lives.
What the show has done really well is to incorporate the modern timeline to really emphasize that this is Lali's memories, and he faces the ghosts of the past that are impersonations of his trauma, but at the same time he goes back to the moment of finding the love of his life in the most inhumane of places. And I think, yeah, adding this timeline was crucial and
Yeah,
very good decision. I mean, and the performances of Harvey and Melanie, they are just amazing.
amazing.
Jonah, you would obviously know a lot about bringing adaptations to life, so I can understand that you would probably be like, oh, this is fun. I
It
can
felt
handle it.
different, I have to say. It felt
Yeah.
different. I think I've done a lot of work over the years, adapting novels to films and television shows, but I think this takes on particular resonance for a few reasons. I think firstly, as we said, it is an existing book. Even a work of fiction carries its own responsibility, but then to also couple that with telling the story of a life that has been lived is different. And then plus, when it's in this context and this time of history, those three things together make it a kind of perfect storm of fear and terror, of making sure you want to protect it and look after it and do it justice.
I can imagine it would be stressful. The shoot itself didn't look especially glamorous. What was the toughest part about shooting the show?
I mean, I think going back like every day into the set, into these camps, to the set, to the mindset. It was very challenging for all of us, for all the cast and crew, and we just had to be soaked in the subject.
Mm.
We just had to stay in the mindset, and it took a toll on everyone, and it was amazing to be able to explore different dimensions of human nature. And as you said, that the scripts are beautifully written. And but just going back to the mindset, I think that was the most difficult part. It was very challenging, but at the same time very rewarding.
Jonas was saying that it really took time to shake the character off, like months even.
Yeah,
Was
and
it for
just
you?
realize that it wasn't even a pattern what it would have been like for the real people, and that was just a set for
Definitely.
us, and we all felt that it was, yeah.
Yeah, and finding that balance, because you want so much to bring your commitment as an actor, and you feel like that is the best way that you can serve the story and to honor Lali and Geeta, and you have a job to do. But at the same time, I think it just is unlike any other job that you've done before, and it goes so much more beyond just a professional piece. So finding the balance between doing your preparation as an actor and as an artist, but also being aware of the fact that it is going to affect you on a really deep human level, and trying to manage those two things, because as you say, you don't want to get overwhelmed by it, and it also doesn't feel appropriate actually to get overwhelmed by it given the context that we're in. So just managing those two feelings.
How did you manage to keep things light, like between takes and things, or were you just in the characters the whole time?
I wouldn't say that we were in the characters for the whole time, but we were in the mindset pretty much, right? We stayed there.
I think the cast and the crew, they knew. I think it would have felt self-congratulatory to try and be sad all the time, as if that was going to help us, or as if that was going to in some way honor the people that had actually gone through this. I think that didn't feel right either. But at the same time, everyone knew what an important thing this was. And I think the cast and the crew felt quite energized by this feeling that we were doing something really necessary and telling an important story. And so I think, you know, film sets, TV sets, they can have quite a humorous, light quality to them. And I would say, which is important. And I think that, you know, allows people to do their job. But at the same time, there was such a level of focus to this, and that I think people were really trying their very best to kind of make sure that we were getting the best we could out of each other every day, and producing the best work that we could.
It was such a collective work of all of us, of all the cast and crew, and I felt taken care of
definitely
all the time, and everyone has been very, very
they were very supportive.
Very supportive. Yeah.
And knew that we kind of had to keep checking in and look after one another.
Joan, I heard that there was like 20 kilos difference between you in this role and then in Prince Eric. What was that like for you to prepare for this role?
It was sort of just a necessary part of the process. We felt, I think, when you're telling a story like this, there are limitations and restrictions there in trying to create a TV drama. You know, for us, our job is to try and make the most respectful and compelling and gripping television show within the confines of the screen. And a big part of that is making sure that people felt like the characters on screen were believable and looked a certain way. And so for me, it came out of a conversation that I had with the director, that we felt like it was a necessary thing to do. But you know, it had its challenges, but I think just it was done in a very safe, controlled environment, and it was fine.
Anna, when you realized that you had to shave your head, what was your reaction? Were you like, I'm ready for this? This is the role that I'm, you know?
I mean, yes. I mean, I knew I was going to do it for a reason. And I remember when my agent called me and said they will need to shave your head. What do you think about it? How do you feel about it? And I was like, I feel okay. I think it's okay. I want to do it. And, you know, it was quite a huge change for me because I had like long hair and, but it helped me a lot, you know, it got me closer to the character, and I just had to find a way to connect to her. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror with my head shaved for the first time in costume with the tattoo on my arm. It was like super powerful moment, like very touching, very emotional, but very profound moment. Yeah. So it was actually very helpful.
Jonah, did you feel the same?
I did in the moment. I thought, going into it, I felt like in any other situation, I thought that's going to be the easiest part of the job. It's quite an innocuous thing. You're cutting your hair. You know, I didn't have long, beautiful hair like Anna. And so I think I underestimated what a moment it might be. And then when it came to it, I think as Anna says, you shave your head and you're so immersed in the time, you're so immersed in your own character and in the history and the association of what that image is and why your head was shaved and the dehumanization tactics that they employed. It felt really moving. And as Anna said, to see yourself with that hair or without that hair and in your prison uniform and with your tattoo, it definitely brought you closer on some level to the story that you were telling. And it felt pretty poignant.
Yeah, I can only imagine. What's what's a fun fact or you know, something that fans might not expect from behind the scenes?
Oh, there's a question. Believe it or not, everyone in the cast absolutely loved each other.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you
Yeah.
said just now you were talking to Jonas and what an extraordinary performance. He is just the kindest and warmest, most sensitive guy. And I think people gave these incredibly, like you gave the most committed and powerful performance with so much gravitas, but that you have so much humor as well to you, as does everyone. And I think it was, yeah, I felt an enormous amount of pride watching it because knowing the stretch that people made and knowing the places that people went to get there and knowing their real character and how kind and funny and silly they are and knowing what a level of kind of professionalism and commitment they brought to the story. Maybe people knew that already, but it's definitely true.
And I remember that we would say like every day with Tali that like, okay, we start the day and this is the most difficult day of the project. And it became a joke because we would say that every day that this is the most difficult day. It's even more difficult than yesterday. We have no idea how to get through it. But we have to do it. And it was quite funny actually. But every day was like even more difficult from yesterday. Yeah.
Jonas did seem super lovely, so maybe we have to try to get you guys together on a comedy or something.
That would be nice.
That would be great.
He is very funny.
Yeah.
We would love to see it. Well, I can't wait to watch the rest of the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, and congratulations again.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Nice
you.
to talk to you.